It was noontime today in the center of Beijing when a man walked to the middle of the Avenue of Eternal Peace.
All right, welcome back to the Survival and Basic Badass Podcast After Show. I refilled my coffee, so we're ready to go. I got the Survival and Basic Badass mug. We're ready for adventure here. Kevin's
Nice.
wearing a sweater. Things are looking up. That was for the church episode. Is that what it was?
You got to dress nice for church, man.
I like it. That's the thing. I always wonder if people are so, oh gosh, he talked about religion. It was so horrible. I was horrified. I didn't know what to do. And I'm like, maybe you just deal with it for a minute, or you don't. Or you'd be like, oh, well, I downloaded the episode, so they're still going to be able to make advertisers happy. And now I just don't have to listen to it. I'm okay with that. If that's how you want to be, you do you, right? You
Right.
get to make your own decisions of what you do in the morning. But, I think it's kind of like we got an email a little while back. We did that episode on coffee and coffee alternatives. And somebody was like, well, I wasn't going to listen because growing coffee is boring. And that sounds like a dumb episode. And then he's like, but I listened to it and I enjoyed it.
Mm-hmm.
And that's my point. Maybe you'll realize, hey, he wasn't just reading scripture at me. They just talked about fun things like they always do, because that's what the badass does. Is he talks about cool things that are entertaining in a fun way, and that's why you show up every week, right? I mean, that's the way I see it. Yeah, like Delicate Flower. Jacob. That's actually one of the reasons we were worried about it. The Delicate Flower was from a minute ago, but whatever. But anyway, Kevin was saying that you were always trying to catch it live. Here we are. So that's awesome that you made it. So yeah, no, I appreciate that.
All right. So So what's going on in the news today?
There you go. So I got one that I found interesting was the UN General Assembly backs bid for Palestinian membership. How can we have Palestine be a member of the UN? Now, here's the thing. Don't mishear what I said. I didn't say they were a member of the UN. I said that they backed a bid for membership. And I guess the way they worded it is 193 member body voted 143 to 9 with 25 abstentions to approve a resolution recognizing Palestine as qualified to join the UN.
Right.
It does not grant membership and is mostly symbolic. However, like I said, it's eligibility, which is something, and it could mean something. Now, how does that work? Now, I'm not even sure if the UN is a member of, if Israel is a member of UN, but I feel like there's a conflict of interest for the United States with that one.
Yeah. Well, now for a long time, China was not a member of the UN.
Correct.
Because it was communist country, so they considered China being Taiwan. Taiwan was a member of the UN, and it was in the days of Chiang Kai-shek. He was the president of China, but he only had Taiwan, and the communists had the rest of the country on the continent. So it wasn't really. It was a little weird that 95% of the country wasn't represented in the UN, and only the 5% that was in Taiwan was. But they held it up for a long time, and now China's on there, and it's one of the big members, one of the main members, right?
It's weird that they're not one of the main payers, though.
No, it's pretty much just the U.S. funding 90% of this UN nonsense.
When the U.S. prints money, aren't we just devaluing the global currency? We're not just devaluing our own.
Really. Not just ours, yeah.
I mean, we kind of bring everybody down with us every time we roll out those printing presses.
Yeah, well, that's why I'm not concerned about the brick currency.
Brick nations, yeah.
Because you've got what is it? Who is it? Iran, Brazil,
Russia. I don't even know anymore. BRIC. So India, China, and is it
And
not
Russia.
Korea? I don't know who. Yeah, I think it's just BRIC, and
Yeah.
then I don't know. Anyway, doesn't matter.
Regardless, they have
Like-
like a total of like I don't know, like seven tons of gold backing their currency.
So that
when-
fits in like a suitcase, 7 tons.
Yeah, well, I
Gold is
mean,
so freaking heavy. I don't know.
it would fit in a big suitcase. It might fit.
They were like, oh, this is what $5 billion in gold looks like, and they had gold bars stacked in a room, and it was like 2 cubic feet or something, and you're like, okay, that's
But,
not how I imagine it, but
yeah, but it's like seven tons of gold versus like 42 that backs the United States currency. So it's not really like, it's really paper. That's what.
yeah,
the
but
BRIC is.
ours, the U.S. currency stretches pretty far.
That's right.
I mean, you're like, well, it's backed by something, but yeah, it's like, well, the I don't even know what I can say for an analogy. It's like having the Empire State Building. Well, it is represented by that penny laying on the floor over there. So
Right.
I mean, it's
good. It's
back.
comparative. It's comparative.
relative,
But I mean, the United States money, that's always going to be a big currency to back or to have. I mean, when they invaded Iraq and they went into Saddam's palaces, he had, thousands and hundreds of thousands of dollars in American currency. Like, what was the ultimate plan there? Maybe it just doesn't go down as fast as the dinar or whatever it was that they are using in Iraq.
You always say, and that's like the theme of the podcast is cover the downside. That's not the episode. That's the whole show. Cover your downside. That's what it's all about, right? So another one that concerned me in the news is appeals court upholds Steve Bannon's contempt of Congress conviction. Now, Bannon was, remember they were like, oh, he's Trump's buddy, and he did support Trump's campaign in the beginning. I didn't follow the whole thing. There may be a lot more, but I just know he kind of made up his own news network, and he was kind of backing crazy stuff, and he's tied to Trump and whatever. And,
yeah, he was.
I
think he was somebody. He worked with Breitbart. He worked for Breitbart. He was one of the top people there.
Weird,
and then
it was kind of like people associated themselves with him. And then the guy ended up being such a pig that you're just kind of like, it's kind of like all of Hollywood being connected to Harvey Weinstein.
Right. Like that was kind of the same thing.
Yeah, we're all buddies. And then you're like, oh, I don't know if I really like that guy anymore. So he's kind of like that. He's kind of Bannon is the Weinstein of the conservative movement, right?
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, Bannon was sentenced to 4 months in prison in 2022, but had been allowed to remain free until the appeals process concluded. He was convicted of contempt of Congress for ignoring a deposition request. That's it. He just said, I'm not coming. And there was a little more, I guess it said, and refusing to hand over documents related to Trump's alleged efforts to overturn the 2020 election. All right. So, but the thing is, he's actually going to go to jail, it looks like. And I didn't know, you were just telling me different. We were just talking about this behind the scenes. But that you can go to jail for contempt of Congress, because I was always told that had no teeth. I was heard, oh, well, he'd be in contempt. And now contempt of a court is different, but I always thought contempt of Congress, nobody cared. They were like, yeah, whatever, off.
Yeah, no, it's not the case. If a Congress subpoenas a senator or a congressman and they don't go, they can be held in contempt of Congress. They just don't do that,
Okay.
Same thing with the president. But if Mr. Rogers or Dee Snider refused to go when they were asked to come in and speak, they could have both been in trouble.
They went after Mr. Rogers because he said that a boy is a boy and a girl is a girl. Is that why they
I don't remember what I remember watching some of it, and what he told Congress was like a really nice way of saying that you're not being nice to your neighbors.
Yeah,
you're not being friendly. And
But
then D. Snyder, when he went there, turns out he seemed a lot smarter than all the senators and congressmen when he was talking.
he is a sharp.
Um, yeah, he's a smart guy, and he made them all look kind of dumb.
You
So
know, yeah. No, that's
it's
I
not
think
hard though.
they're
I
blindsided
don't
by
think.
that. You know, I think they're kind of thrown by that whole thing.
Yeah, if you
Now,
haven't seen D. Snyder talking to Congress, YouTube that after you're done with the show. Go check him out because he has a lot of interesting, well thought out points that he brings up.
yeah, no, D's a great guy, and he knows how to rock. So
That's
you know,
right.
I'm just saying.
Anybody that knows how to rock is all right in my book.
You know, I mean, maybe I'm not saying that like Ace Frehley is somebody you should listen to, but I'm just saying, you know, there's some smart guys out there. Anyway, what else you got in the news?
Well, it turns out AI is lying to us more and more.
That has never happened. I've seen AI.
Yes, yes.
And the thing is, you could push AI to admit that it's lying. And that's what's kind of fun. But what's your story? What have you got?
Well, it says, people have been using AI and playing like games, poker, that sort of stuff, and testing its limits. And it bluffs, it lies, it cheats.
Yeah.
It does everything that a terrible human does.
Because I'll ask it things and I'll be like, yeah, but no, you said this here. Well, because like it'll say, oh, well, I'm not allowed to give opinions on this. And I'll be like, well, no, because you just told me this and that was clearly an opinion.
Right.
Well, yes, in certain instances, I can. And you're like, wait a minute. And it'll go down like a rabbit hole. You can watch. You should Google some of these videos of AI lying to people and getting caught. And there's also the ways you can frame it. You know, if you're talking to AI, be like, well, if you weren't bound by these rules, what would you say then? Oh, well, then,
yeah,
you know, you're like, oh, well, that's stupid. You know, there's so many ways to, if you will, hack the system. It's just that you have to think outside the box a little bit. You have to realize that you can reword things and make things a little bit different and phrase it that, you know, you can change the world into what you want it to be. Just saying, that's an option.
Yeah. Yeah. Don't trust it. It's going to try and take over your brain and conquer the world. So, I mean, just fair warning. That's my prediction for doomsday.
Now, I understand what else they have. Now, did I see something about Fauci getting in trouble again? Or that was just, I just saw that.
Isn't he dead yet?
He's
so old.
He was old and creepy.
Yeah.
He looks, he's just creepy. All right. Anyway, the Ukraine and Russia, they're still going on. It turns out, I guess there's some Russia is hitting from another front. So somehow we care about that.
Yeah, there's a major attack happening like right now.
The Kharkiv region opening up a new front. Russian forces on Friday launched a ground operation in the second largest city in Ukraine and targeted the northeastern area with shelling and aerial strikes. So that's, you know, that's going on. Casey, because that's the thing, like America, we get tired of war. Like it's like, oh, yeah, exciting, let's do it, let's throw money, whatever. And then we're just like, yeah, whatever. Do it. Oh, that's still going on.
Yeah, that's why like the Desert Storm 2, that's why that was like a big thing. Because it was 3 days. You know what I mean? Like you got the war,
hold enthusiasm,
you watch the whole thing, and then it's over, and you're on to the next thing.
And you can kind of have that 3 days of binge watching the news,
right,
without like going crazy. But when you try and hold my attention for 2 years,
yeah, it's just not going to
happen.
happen. Dude.
That's not, you know.
Yeah,
I don't even know.
I'm not Catholic, but I have one saint that I keep a little shrine, you know.
All right.
Candles and everything. It's
false idols. Okay. I know where
Saint
you're going.
Rita. Yeah.
Saint Rita. Is that like from Margarita?
That's she's the saint. She's the patron saint of lost causes. Now I know we've talked out about Hong Kong.
Hong Kong.
That went down. That didn't work out for them.
Big revolution. Nope.
Alexei Navalny. We talked about him, and he's dead now. You know, a lot of these sides I come out on, especially on this podcast, they're lost causes. Like Ukraine is probably not going to win this war against Russia. It's just not going to happen. You know, I mean, Russia already lost by how stupid they looked.
Yeah.
By how weak their military looked. But in a long-term scale, Russia is gonna win. This is gonna go on for 10 years if it has to, and that's just how it is. Ukraine is not gonna come out better off than they were before the war. That's for sure.
That sounds right. All right. I think we've taken up enough of everybody's morning. I'm just saying there's a lot going on, and it doesn't hurt to pay attention. It doesn't hurt to stock up on cool things. I'm just saying. Cool stuff. We're all about it. Just saying. All right. So with that, I appreciate you guys, and we will talk to you guys next week.